it's a difficult thing. I get really emotional every time I talk about it.
On Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., teachers and parents want to be heard as the district looks to close schools. How families can weigh in tonight.
Xcel says it's passing the higher cost of natural gas right now on to you, right as our temperatures begin to drop too. We have ways to save a few bucks on your energy bill. And how the Broncos plan to fill a key role with running back Javonte Williams out for the season now, and Thursday's game fast approaching against the Colts.
Yeah, that's a tough loss. Looking outside this morning at Empower Field, we're already expecting it to be nice for a game day. There is a slight chance of rain today, though. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is here, and I sure have enjoyed the rain the last few days, Lisa.
Yeah, it was nice, relaxing, late day yesterday. A little wet on the roadways during the late commute, but right now you can see most of those showers moving out. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds here early this morning. There will be a slight chance for a few showers this afternoon, but really fewer than what we saw yesterday. Low to mid 60s by lunchtime. By noon, we're going to hit highs right around 68 to near 70 degrees. So pretty close to normal this time of year, right around 70 for the normal high. Boulder, 67, good 10 degrees cooler there in Estes Park, and then upper 50s in Evergreen, 66 in Parker this afternoon. Coming up here in a few minutes, we'll take a closer look at Futurecast and that slight chance for a few showers this afternoon. Again, more dry, it looks like today, Jason, and even more so tomorrow. We'll have that Broncos full forecast coming up.
And right now, the drive looks a little bit wet in some spots. You'll have some of that splashback coming back at you, depending on where you're going here this morning, but a lot of the roads are drying out. Some are just bone dry. You won't even notice that there was any rain last night. We did have a closure of I-76. I told you about this yesterday morning, that our early morning commuters would have to deal with that closure, but we have, as you take a look from the camera, all lanes open coming down from 88th Avenue past Commerce City all the way into I-25. So that's the good news. Tomorrow morning, we could have the same closure in place by till about 5 o'clock or so. I'll keep you posted on that. Right now, you can see the drive times across Commerce City, across 270, across that I-25 drive up north looks okay. It's still some lingering construction out here on I-70, including over here at that lowered section that's going to cause you a couple extra minutes, and still some paving out to the west side as well.
Well, tonight, Jefferson County parents will have another chance to sound off on the district's plan to close 16 elementary schools.
The district says it has no choice because of declining enrollment, but the district knows this will impact thousands of people. So this morning we're going in depth, hearing from community leaders, teachers, and the district. Denver 7's Brandon Richard kicks off our coverage from one of the schools that could soon be closed. Brandon.
Well, two of those meetings will take place tonight, and Jeffco district leaders say these meetings are about families from those closing and consolidating schools. It's about giving them an opportunity to get to know each other and build community. They say these meetings are not the forum to debate the school closures. They say that will come later. As we've been telling you, some families are opposed to school closings for a variety of reasons. They say that the schools that are closing will disproportionately impact minority students. And now Wheat Ridge leaders are joining them in opposing the closings. 3 of the schools slated to close are in Wheat Ridge. In a resolution last night, they urged the school board to vote no and want the district to come back with another plan. But district leaders say the closures are necessary due to declining enrollment. They say at some schools, there's only enough students to fill one classroom per grade. And they say small schools lack resources like funding.
Our enrollment is just in a place where it continues to decline, and as we look to the future and the resources that we want to provide in our schools, consolidating, closing some schools was really the only way that we can get there.
Now, 2 meetings, what the district calls community conversations, are scheduled for tonight. One at Peck Elementary starting at 5, another at Mulholm Elementary starting at 6. About a dozen more of these meetings are scheduled throughout the month of October. District leaders say public hearings will be held in late October and early November, and it's at those meetings, they say, where community members can debate the school closures ahead of that board vote on November the 10th. We're live this morning. Brandon Richard. Denver 7.
Yeah, and Brandon, we've already heard many parents saying that kids from less wealthy families will be impacted the most. In fact, I crunched the numbers on this. At the schools slated for closure, an average of 52% of the kids at those schools are on free and reduced lunch. District-wide, that number of free and reduced is about 28%, so there is an imbalance there. And it's not just families, but teachers who are worried about these closures. They will all have to reapply for their jobs next year. The president of Jeffco's teachers union told me the uncertainty is really impacting teachers right now.
I think there's a really a feeling of angst, not knowing what next year is going to look like and not knowing where they're going to be next year, and whether or not they're going to be able to be at the school with their students. And I think that also causes some angst with the community and the students, not knowing which teachers are going to go to their new school with them and what familiar faces are going to be there.
And she also told me they do not expect any changes to the current list of closures, but they do want to feel heard in the process. The board will make the final decision about the closures at its meeting November 10th.
Turning now to the effects of Ian, economists are starting to project the cost of the widespread damage from the storm, and some estimate it caused about $50 billion in damage to Florida alone. Take a look at these images. Several billion more in South Carolina. That would make it one of the costliest natural disasters in recent history. And now the national economy could take a hit. A chief economist thinks Ian could bring down gross domestic product by about 1.7% to end the year. It's hitting a range of industries when they're already struggling with supply shortages and the war in Ukraine.
Now, recovery will be the theme of President Biden's visit to the disaster area tomorrow. He'll pledge continued financial support.
He'll be on the ground as search and rescue crews are still finding victims and survivors in the rubble. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest.
Good morning. As Florida prepares for that visit from President Biden on Wednesday, search and rescue crews still have their work cut out for them. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says 1,900 rescues have been conducted so far, and other crews are going door to door, checking in on those who rode out this devastating storm. This morning, the number of people killed by Hurricane Ian now more than 100. Nearly a week after the storm first made landfall in southwest Florida as a powerful Category 4 hurricane, search and rescue operations are still underway.
There's more urban search and rescue teams in Florida now than in any one place in American history since September 11th.
Many of the rescue efforts focused on barrier islands like Sanibel and Pine Island, which had bridges and causeways destroyed in the storm and have been cut off from the mainland for days. And after Ian knocked out power to more than 2.6 million people, the state's largest utility company pledging to get electricity restored to most habitable homes by the end of the week. Some Floridians forced off the grid, just now learning of the devastation.
I just am now seeing pictures. I've had no internet, no cable, no nothing. So I'm just now taking a glimpse, and
I mean, what are you seeing? What is that like to see this area like this?
The state of Florida has also created a disaster relief fund to help those impacted by the hurricane. So far, officials say it's raised more than $21 million. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Foundation for hurricane relief. You can make a donation by texting STORM to 50155. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right now or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief.
Police in Northglenn say a homeowner has shot and killed 2 boys suspected of trespassing. Police say the juveniles broke a fence to enter the backyard. That's when officers say the homeowner confronted them and there was an exchange of gunfire, killing the boys. Police think the teenagers were linked to a nearby burglary as well.
Well, the Broncos signed running back Latavius Murray to running back for Thursday's game against the Colts. Of course, this is because of Javonte Williams being out for the season with a torn ACL. Defensive end Randy Gregory is also on the injured list with a knee injury after Sunday's loss to the Raiders. He's expected to miss from 2 to 6 weeks of play. And even Russell Wilson is on the injured list right now, as you can see here. with a right shoulder injury, but he is expected to play in Thursday's game.
Yeah, but they're banged up and hurting right now, trying to muster up a way to bounce back. Short week. Thursday's game is right here on Denver 7. Our pregame coverage starts at 5 p.m. Kickoff against the Colts is just after 6, and then stick with us for our big post-game show after the game.
If you're driving I-70 through Glenwood Canyon this week, the road could stop at times. CDOT is doing helicopter and rockfall operations tonight through Thursday. The work is a continuation of emergency repairs after flooding and rock slides last year. So CDOT plans to hold traffic in both directions for about 20 to 30 minutes at a time from 9 to 3. Jason.
Now up there, Nicole, it looks pretty nice along Glenwood Canyon. So those operations will happen later on after the morning commute, really, for us. That'll be in Glenwood. This is the Grand Avenue Bridge as we would making our way south on 82 all the way down to Aspen and Carbondale, and it looks pretty nice for us right now. Not seeing any problems up there. It looks pretty for us. Lisa?
Yeah, and you know, waking up to again a little more snow there on the peaks after some of the overnight showers, but now things drying out. You're going to find a mix of sun and clouds at the bus stop this morning for your kids. Upper 40s to low 50s early on. Slight chance for a few showers here this afternoon. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky, 68 degrees by the time they get home. It's going to be beautiful on Thursday for the Broncos game. We'll show you what to expect for tailgating coming up.
Also coming up, we know money is tight right now. How many Americans say they are stretched too thin on everyday expenses and what they're doing to compensate for it?
And from unemployed to paving his own way, meet the local senior finding new ways to work amid the gig economy.
I was sending out like 25 and 30 applications and resumes a week, and it just wasn't happening. And it occurred to me that the right way to do this is probably start my own business.